need some air. Order me another round. We gon' need this area clear. Toast to the ones that want it. Toast to the right and wrongs. I am the guy that they wrote off. They was afraid of my solo. I gave them 40 right in for quarter. They labeled me, call me a show off. And I don't know what I did to them. Sound like a solo problem. All I'ma say about it. Where the hell my cup? Now it's gone. No, my name was on it.
Turn it up, warm it up, leave it one scene tonight. Lick it up, roll it up, while we ain't all the time. Don't ask me, don't need to know. Just moving along, baby, I won't. I had a choice and pushed it aside. I had a choice, then I made it mine. Just in my closet, it's been a long while since we did a soiree. Alright, oh boy, you have me so low. Na na na, that's not what's in my soul. Got me feeling better, I'm off the clock. Who got the juice? Don't know, who knows. After this, I might not be solo, solo, solo.
Girl, me hear your solo now. Want to run the town. Let me change your mind. I can show you how. Baby girl, tell me what you need. You want a sip of liquor or we can smoke the tree. We can catch a movie or we can hit the beach. You know I'm not a saint, but I practice what I preach. Call them say what goes around, it comes around. You're solo, but I would you end the night with me. That's right.
Oh boy, you had me so low. That's not what's in this solo. Got me feeling better, I'm off the clock. Who got the juice? Don't know, who knows. After this, I might not be solo, solo, solo.
Ey, Alcari ahí te ajá, nos fuimos. Esta noche más te vas conmigo, aunque seamos amigos. Dale un poquito, dale más perreo, dale que esta noche tú te vas. Y por la parte de atrás, dale yo beba, tú te vas a fugar. No digas nada, dale más perreo, pide más jaqueo. En la discoteca tú sabes estamos puestos. Pide par de trago, beba que yo lo pago. Ey, conmigo pa' abajo, anda con Algarillo puesto con la mami. Esta noche mami nos vamos para la del party. No me importa, mira lo que diga tu papi. Esta noche te convierto en mi mami. Dale mami suelta, dale más conecta. Todas las choris se pusieron, mira paricera. Dale rastrillera, duro y ya no para. Esa chula mira que me laza. Dale más, que tú quieres. Esta noche los weekends. Dale mira que nos vamos si te atreves. Retumba la bocina mami. Dale pégate más perreo. Dale mami, yo te agarro por el cuello. Llama a tu amiguita que esta noche nos vamos. Esta noche pa' abajo. Suena el boom 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 que nos vamos. Dale, esta noche con los tragos. Alza toda la copa, mira yo vacilando. Ey, tu amiguita en mi.
Over? I don't think so. Yo, party people, we gotta keep this thing going.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's your boy Rico No Suave. Welcome back to another great show. Yes, with me, with none other than Rico No Suave. Yes. Hey, everybody, I missed you. You missed me, and we're back. Yes, thank you all for tuning in for right now, because you know why? It's another great day in paradise, everybody, on a talk show with me. And if it's your first time, don't forget, everybody, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go ahead and like. Just press that like button and just comment, because I want you guys to comment, because we got something special for you today. We got something brand new for you today for you guys to actually enjoy with me and the crew here. Everybody, one of the things about life is there are parents, and I love my parents, right? And I love everything about my parents. And one thing about having parents is, a great thing or influencers. And I also have to say guardian parents as well, too. The one thing I love about them is trying to bring you up in a certain fashion of discipline. And in this case, we do have a situation here in Chicago. And I'm sure this is, going around the nation as well, too. But I do want to address this. And it kind of made me feel good about this, because I know parents should be held accountable. So we're going to bring up this first picture, everybody. In Chicago, there was a situation where underage teenagers and also the youth was out in the wee hours of the night. I mean, you can blame it on the pandemic in regards to the unrest, but it wasn't even just about the unrest. It was about people being able to be out in the streets trying to be freely and try to do some things that, so-called protesting. And then also there's criminal activity. But as you can see here, everyone, in Chicago, we have these teenage takeovers. And as you can see, there's kids that's on cars, on top of cars, and vandalism. So there's aldermen, of course, in different areas of Chicago, and one of the aldermen actually came up and said, we need to pass a law. So going to our next slide here is that we actually had an alderman to actually say, hey, a law that would fine parents for the rowdy behavior of their teenagers was floated by a city council member this week. Alderman Ramon Lopez, who represents Chicago's 15th district, drafted the proposal in response to the city's frequent disorderly adolescent get-togethers. Now, we call these get-togethers, it's not the get-togethers that we used to. It's the get-togethers that's taken over the streets, the town, and things like that. I remember when I was getting together with my friends, and we will have something called homecoming. And after homecoming, we'll get together and we'll go to Six Flags, or we'll go to, a park or something like that. And we'll all hang out, and we'll also get together, and there might be a slew of cars, and we're playing music and we're having a great time. But there's a different ordinance that we actually had when the lights came on when you were younger. We was in the house. But that's not how it is nowadays. And now what happens is that the parents itself, if they have parents that's alive or they have guardians, should be held responsible for the bad orderly conduct that's actually happening in these streets. Because people are actually, now also with this gun violence thing that's going on with guns and the youth, we have this problem now. We have this issue where parents, where are you? Your guardians, where are they? Influencers, positive influence, where are they in regards to getting these kids into programs, into activities, into things that needs to keep them off of the streets? Because people are sometimes scared of their lives. I wouldn't say sometimes, all the time scared of their lives now, because we don't know when this teenage takeover is going to happen. But I am happy because there is someone that's actually putting a proposal together to put something out there to say, hey, the parents need to be held responsible for their kids' actions itself if there's rowdy behavior in regards to people's property that may be damaged or just criminal activity in general. Let's see, hopefully, that we pray that this law get approved, so we can actually see if there's going to be a change or not. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. You can even talk to yourself and say, I think you got a point, or, I don't know, But what would you do as well? Let's get it on, everybody. I am super happy to have this beautiful lady on the show. When we talk about this and talking about teenagers, and we're talking about where there are kids that need to home, when there's that proper care and discipline, and also, depends on how far the age limit goes up when it comes to foster care. This, excuse me, this beautiful lady itself has actually started that. And this is going to be a deep conversation, but it's going to be fun. She is an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman. She's an author. And also she's a public speaker that's out there talking to the youth. I want you to put your hands together, put your heart together with the clapping, spread that love, because we have none other than my girl, Nicole Mays Jackson. Let's go. Hey, love, are you there?
I am here.
What's up?
What is going on, Rico No Suave?
We got Nicole Mays Jackson here with us. Love, hey, I am super happy to have you on the show today. This is going to be fabulous. I am super happy to have you here. And, I want, of course, you, first of all, I need you to give some shout outs, because I know you got shout outs to people that actually help you as far as with your journey.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Let's get some shout outs. Do you have any people you want to say hello
Sure.
to?
So first and foremost, God, because
Yes.
I could not do what I am doing now without him. I have to
Yes.
give all honor to him. I want to give honor to my team. I could not be where I am today without my team. And that goes from my management team to my team at One Care, who makes the business run. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone and all my people behind the scenes as well. I just want to give them a shout out.
Big shout out. Let's go. Yes, big shout out, of course. I love them too. If you love them, I love them too. And of course, we said God is number one. Yes, because He understands our path. He knows exactly where we're going. He knows our talent. And it's all about putting it into effect.
Yes.
That's what we do. Let's get it on. All right, love, I got some questions. I got some questions. I got some questions. When we talk about social services, and I have to get big ups because I have some friends that does social services as well too, and also as a social worker, and being able to go to these homes and to be able to find a way to be able to help the youth, but also to help parents as well too. When did you start off into social services?
Yeah, so I am a proud alumni of Grambling State University. So I started off with social work, just like you said, and so I worked on the private level, I worked on the state level, and I knew that I wanted to create something else. But I started off in social service, probably maybe about I don't want to say my age now.
No,
Let me
you're
not
all
say
good.
my age.
You look young, love. You look young and beautiful. Yeah.
But it's been a minute, okay? And so I just got started working on the private and the public sector. And I just knew that I wanted to also open up my own agency from working in the private and the public sector. It just opened up my eyes to a lot being a social worker. You see a lot and you deal with a lot.
Sure. And that's what I really want my audience to know, because not very often that, on our show here is that we have social workers. We do have, people that do a lot as far as in that field. Yeah. But during your time, you also had, you had training that actually got you into that process of becoming that. So what was that process like? And also, what was it like for you to actually get your first job as a social worker? What was that like?
Well,
that's what I want to know.
Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I was really nervous when I had my first job working in social service. I wanted to help people. That's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And then my background, it was just meant to be in social service. And so when I got my first job was in Ruston, Louisiana. Okay. I worked at CPS. It was called OCS then. And I was a I was a caseworker. And so children who were being taken from their parents, I was working with the parents to make sure that the parents were doing what they were supposed to do. And when I tell you, coming out of college, Rico, it was something. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, it was something. And being in a rural area, it wasn't that bad. I stayed there for about a year, and then I was like, hey, I am from Houston, and Ruston is a small town outside of Grambling, and so I'm from Houston, and I wanted to go back home. I could not deal with the rural area for too long because I am a country city girl. Okay, I love being from the South, and I am a city girl, and so I was ready to come home. I was ready to come home, and I worked for CPS in Houston. And Houston, which is called Region 6 here in Houston, is one of the biggest, largest social service agencies, really in Texas. We're the biggest region out of Texas, in Houston. And when I tell you, working for CPS in Houston, I'm just going to be honest, I was ready to pack up and leave after I got out of training. It was so stressful. It was stressful because you had so many demands. You wanted to be able to meet the needs of the kids. You had bonds that you made with the children because I was called a CVS worker. So it was just a lot. And you see a lot, you deal with a lot, and you have to have a balance. During that time for me, I just had my family. I was just, not too long ago came married. I had my son, and I wanted to be able to spend time with my family too. And so once I realized that working for the state, I got my training, I got everything I need. It was about 3-4 month training BSD was. And so after getting my training, I was like, God, I want to work on the private sector. And he opened up a door for me. Someone who was close to me introduced me to someone who was hiring for a foster home developer. And for 10 years, I was certifying people to become foster parents. And I love that because I love to see them be able to want to be able to help the children and want to be able to do something good for the community. And, everyone thinks that when someone is a foster parent that they are doing it for a check. And I got to see that firsthand that was not the case. So I'm sorry I'm going on, but
no, you good. You good. This is good though, because I commend you. Number one, I commend you in regards to being able to, first of all, your certification, your training, it's very important. You always had the love to be able to help the youth, the kids, but you also was there to help the parents. I want to get a little deep with that because times have changed from the days that, of course, from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Now we're in 2023, right? Yes. There's kind of a trend of what social services was back in the day versus to what it is now. When you're talking about going into these areas, and it also brought up another question that when you were saying that Houston, it's one of the biggest social services, it's kind of sound like it's the Mecca, right? For social services of, for the youth. When you're talking about parents and the kids from the rural area to the city life, what's the difference in regards to, social services, in regards to why would someone look for you to actually say, hey, I want to actually find this type of child that I want to care for? And what are those types of children that you're actually helping to get care from a parent?
Yes, yeah, sure. So the parents that would want to be able to assist these children are people who sometimes didn't have children on their own. They might be retired individuals who have their empty nesters. And then you have individuals who are middle-aged and who they want to bring in and have that experience. So I've had a couple before that I know that they could have children and they did have children, but they also wanted to give back. One of them were in foster care care as well. And so they knew that they wanted to give back. And then that's it's just a mixture, it's just a mixture of who's wanting to do it. And now the type of children that are served, I mean, it varies totally from ages from 0 to 21. I mean, because they can stay in extended care if they want to, because once a child gets 18, me and you both know when we're 18, I mean, we think we're grown, but we're not. And coming from foster care, I mean, it's a lot of odds against you, right? And so we have various of ages, and those types of children are teenagers. You do have your middle-aged children, you do have babies, but for the most part, the most displaced population that I would say would be our teenagers.
Yeah. That, when you say from 0 to, the baby feels like it's not even born yet, when you say 0, right? What are the stages of the children, or I want to say this right because I don't want to offend anyone, but as far as the child itself, because when I think of a toddler up to like 5 years old, or maybe even 7, I would say, what do they go through by not having a parent? What makes them, what situation are these kids in when they don't have a parent at that early age?
They go through a lot of what we call trauma. They go through a lot of early trauma. They're dealing with attachment issues, and it just kind of depends on why they came into care. Was it abuse? Was it neglect? Were their parents on drugs? It can vary. Did a parent pass away? And no one else was there to be able to care for them. People think sometimes that foster care is something that was wrongly done by the child or the parent, and sometimes things just really happen and people don't have loved ones to be able to have someone to care for their kids. But the children that do come into care, they experience a lot of trauma and a lot of hurt when they come into care around that age of 7. Just think about how you were at 7, and just imagine someone picking you up from your home and placing you with strangers, and you don't know them. Just think about that. I mean, it's a very traumatic situation, and that's why we want to also make sure that even when I was a foster home developer, if I felt someone's heart was not right, I was not doing it, because our children go through so much, and it's our job to be able to protect them.
I and this is such a blessing to have you on the show, because understanding what a child goes through at a situation you were mentioning, of course, abuse. We talked about, someone that's actually on drugs. Have you just had anyone just give up on the child itself because they couldn't handle being a parent?
That happens a lot.
Really?
I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes, you have children who have mental health issues, and the parents are trying to get services, and, they'll take the children to the psychiatric ward to be able to get help. And then after so much, they'll say, this is all, we can't do anything. And so some parents cannot handle their children, and not just because they are, their behaviors. It might be mental health issues as well, because that's a big topic too in foster care with our children who have intellectual disabilities, autistic. It's so much, and we do have parents, or I have seen parents that cannot care for their children, and they're like, here, I need help. I've seen it time and time again. And it's mostly the teenagers that I have saw, like maybe between, I'll say maybe 10 on up, so that's what I've seen.
I definitely the reason why I'm focusing more on, before I get to the teenagers part, because that's a totally different growth. Right?
Yeah.
When you start becoming a teenager, right? Because you start seeing different things. You're aware of certain things. But when you're actually a toddler, or you're up to like 7, 8 or whatsoever, you tend to start seeing things of, growth within yourself as a child. But as a parent, let's say let's say if the child does not have those type of situations of autism, or having any health issues. Let's say if the child is actually good, normal, right? Yeah. But during that time, as far as with the child itself, and actually where they're crying a lot, you know, they're I mean, you know, it's just they're just crying, right? They're just being a regular child. Have you seen where you know, so-called parent is not ready to be a parent yet and gives up on the child and give that up as well?
In my field, I have not, to be honest
No?
with you. A younger child, I have not. A younger child is kind of a hot commodity. I hate to say
Right,
that,
right.
but you know, I haven't really seen that when it comes to younger children. Now,
Okay.
does it happen? Yes.
Yeah.
Just in my career, I have not really seen younger children just, you know, giving away. Now, I've heard stories of, you know, parents taking them to the fire station and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Of
Yeah.
course, we all have heard that. But in my career, I have not
Okay.
had that to happen yet. A
Okay.
younger child.
Yeah, because you know, I call you the expert. You know, I call you the expert because the reason why I say these things because of things that you have your journey, right, as a social worker, and also having this leads up to, you know, what happens when, you know, a parent leaves or you're coming to actually take the kid away, kind of like what we call DCFS, you know, on, all right, is it DCFS also in,
It's Department of Family and Protective Services here in Houston.
okay. And because I'm assuming that when they're taking the child away from a home that either lost parents or parents are in those situations where they can no longer take care of that child, they would need to bring them to you,
Yeah. So
right?
what happens is DFPS, or what is it called in Chicago again? 'Cause I want to know.
DCFS.
DCFS.
Uh-huh.
What'll happen is that if that child is being taken away, DFCS or DFPS will have them, and then they will shoot out, you know, information to all of the agencies in Houston to see, hey, do you have a home that will fit this child? And
Right.
so that's when, you know, we will come in and we will see if we had a home at our foster agency to be able to care for that child. And this happens all wee hours of the night. This can be at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it just doesn't stop. It's all the time. A lot of things happen.
You the bomb. I just want to let you know. You the bomb.
Thank
I'm
you.
loving it, man. I am loving it. And this is such an eye opener, you know, for a lot of people to really understand what's being done and how things are being done from a social worker, because you see everything, right?
Yeah.
You pretty much see everything. And you also
Yeah.
talk, you know, to the parents or before or talk, man, I'm sure you're talking to authorities as well too, because
Yeah, so it's so many people involved when you're dealing with foster care. You have CASA, which is the child advocate. You have the child's attorney. You have who else? The CPS worker. You have therapists. You
yeah,
have I mean, it's like a whole team. And when people are foster parents, people don't understand that this team is coming into that foster parent's home to be
yeah,
able to make sure everything is going as such as it should be.
yeah.
And so it's a lot of people involved in that child's life in the case once that is taking place, once they are in care.
Man, you know, and that's where, of course, we're going to get to kind of like where the second half, because we can have another show just on that part, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we can definitely just have just that alone because
Yeah.
of what your expertise and what you've seen and what you have to go through. Because a lot of people just know that kids are in a foster care and they're looking for a family, right? But they don't know about what happens in the back end. It's almost looking like, hey, like when you're looking for a car, you want to look exactly how many miles it has, a blue book. You want to see what's attached to that. What happened as far as with that process with that kid to make sure that, how does that work? You know, like how does that process work? And it's amazing to be able to understand how you go from the child, the trauma, to the authorities and everybody that's involved in order to have that kid in foster care. Before we take a quick break, love, because it's already 7:26.
Okay.
It's already, I knew this was going to go fast, and I knew it was going to go fast. So when it comes to you being, you're kind of a therapist because you also talk to the children as well, too. how do you handle that when it comes to you knowing that there's different fluctuations of characters, personalities? How do you handle that?
Currently, right now, I don't handle that anymore.
Okay.
But when I did handle it, when I
Yeah.
did have to go into the homes, you build a rapport with your children. You know,
Okay.
you have to build a rapport and know who they are and get to know them, and don't force yourself on them. It's a process, because you have to realize some of them, this is new for them. And some of them, I will tell you, when they're in care, it's just like, I don't even want to say what I was going to think, but it's like they're in care and they know the system. Okay. And so some of them, you talk to them as such, you know, but you do have to build a rapport with all of your children, from the good to the bad, you know, and be able to be there for them.
Yeah. So when it comes down to you wanting to, have you ever wanted to adopt a lot of the children?
I have. I will tell you a quick story. When I was in Ruston, I was interning as a school social worker, and so I was still working. Also, I did a little bit with CPS still in Ruston, but I was interning as a school social worker, and so I was getting my master's in social work. And it was this kid. It actually is in my book too, a little bit of in the Power of a Thriving Mindset, and he was everything to me. He came from a broken home. He was so smart. He was intelligent and handsome. And I just had a soft spot for him. And you know, all your children that you come in contact with, you have a soft spot, but you sometimes have an even softer spot for certain children. And so I did want to adopt him. I wasn't in the space to be able to do that, but he was on my heart, and I still think about him till this day. Yeah.
What was the kid's name?
I cannot say his name.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't say his name, but
Okay.
he is in my heart. Yeah.
Well, I want to say whatever that kid has done to be able to be in your heart, we love him.
Yes, we do. We do.
For sure, because, you know, I want to make sure I acknowledge that, because I know by you working in that field, I'm sure you've seen so many kids, and then there's that one or maybe two that just stands out, that connects with you, and like, man, I just love this. As I go to the comments real quick, my man John T for free, he says hello. He says you are the bomb, and he says that, you know, I like to know if she ever has a hard time not adopting all the kids. So no, I mean, I'm sure that could be a possibility, but
Right. You know, I will say this, and it's so funny that you're asking me this question, because, you know, I go back and forth, but I would be open to adopting a child. It's ran across my mind, and, you know, I wouldn't mind adding a child, but, you know, it's just, when you see it, it just really plays on your heart. So it is hard. You want to help each child that you come across. You know that it's not possible, but it does. It does something to you when you're in the moment and you're there and you're seeing them. Because I'm gonna say this, when you have a child, when I used to go out to the homes and you have a child who you see they're doing such a good job, and they're improving, and they're in a good space, and so they're able to operate how they are, it just makes you feel like, oh, what else can I do to help them? Like, God, what can I do? And so it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
But I love that about you. You know, I love that about you, because you have a passion for that, but you also love to be able to help the kids, the youth, the teenagers as well too, and even adults, right? And I think that's just in your bloodline right now. That's just in your bloodline. I know you're in Houston. It's a hot bloodline out there. You know what I mean? You're the Mecca. So I'm loving it. Everybody, you already know I got my girl Nicole Mays Jackson, entrepreneur, author, speaker, loving the kids, loving the youth, big times into the social services area. We're gonna take a quick break. Nicole, I'll be back in 30 seconds. You already know. Let's go.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It is me, your boy Rico Suave. Nicole, are you having a good time so far?
I am having a great time. When I want to tell you this, you have been one of my best interviewers that I've had. And I'm not just saying that, okay? I love the energy. I love the questions. You are doing. Oh, I love it. I am excited to be here. I'm loving it.
That's what I love. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for telling the world that. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me because I want to make sure that, of course, your journey is exposed in a great way, right? With the being in a negative part to make it a positive part, right? Because there's two sides to the story always. But I really love it and I really appreciate that. So let's get back to you, my love. Let's get back to you because social services, and I will make this, and I even told my mom this. I told a lot of people this. There's two industries that should really get paid a lot of money. Social services, because I have a lot of friends that's into social work, and they do it because they love to do it. Yeah. But there's a lot involved when it comes to social work that a lot of people don't really understand, that there's a lot. And you talk about trauma, right? It's almost like you're working in like a hospital where you're taking care of people. You're not in a hospital, but you're taking care of people. And you're also being that psychologist, you're being that therapist, you're being that counselor, right? But then at the same time, too, you're being that protector, right? Because you're protecting the kid, you're protecting the youth to make sure that they go into an area where they feel safe, right? And I think that's very, very important. Also is the teachers, right? The teachers itself that's teaching these kids, that's teaching the youth, that's teaching the college kids, and also instructors that's teaching adults for continuing education. I have to say that those two industries need to really get paid top dollars. And that's from the heart. That's from the heart.
They do. And I totally agree. I will tell you, coming straight out of college with my master's, I only made $35,000 with the master's. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? So I know, social workers, teachers, all of us, they do need their pay increase. Teachers, they're doing that for the teachers, but for us social workers, I feel like we're the underdogs. Unless you have your LCSW or your MSW, it's really hard for us.
You know what's crazy about it? That you guys have to go through certification training to be able to go into your field, which costs money, right? And then sometimes you have to pay some of that. I don't know how it works if you're in college and you have to pay those loans back just for you to become a social worker, and you making that amount of money. I'm like, that is not enough to pay even, a payment, because you have other things. You have your regular life to deal with, right? And it's just like, I still have to pay those bills. So that's why I put that in the category of the teachers, because the teachers was not getting paid what they should be getting paid. And they're teaching a world to be able to be better at a profession in order for them to make more money. Right. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's so crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, man. Let's get at it. Okay, so, because I'm super hyped about this, man, and I'm loving this, because this is something that the world needs to know. When we talk about, and congratulations on you, because you started your own foster care business and also into community services. I want to know, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to get a little bit deeper into that. What made you start your own? It's kind of like a home base. Is that right? How is that happening?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So I am the youngest woman of color to have a foster care, adoption agency, and home and community-based service agency. Wow. And so with that, it came in different pieces, though. I did not do all of my entities at one time. I did start off with home and community-based services, and that is what we call HCS. And so that is where we have clients who have intellectual disabilities, and their ages can range from 5 or even younger up until like 40, 60. And so it's a Medicaid waiver program. And then, of course, like we've been talking about, the foster care with CPS, and then adoption as well. And they all came at different times. God gave me, the strategy to be able to move forward at different times of my life. And I'm grateful for that. And it was not easy. When I started my home and community-based service agency, I failed the test a couple of times.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, but I was determined to do that because I saw other entrepreneurs, social workers in the field, and it encouraged me to want more for myself and to be able to serve on a higher level.
Yeah. Blessings. And en español, tú sabes, mi gente, we say bendiciones. Para mi morenita. We love her. Yes. Hey, one thing is that having that opportunity to be able to do so. Mm-hmm. Now, when we talk about this service, now, I mean, there's something called square footage, right? Mm-hmm. When we talk about bringing kids in, when we bring in staff, now, do you actually have a building that you actually have your social workers, the foster care, and all of these services? Is there an actual building that you have?
Yeah, so I have my in-house staff here in Houston. So I do have a office where we do have our social workers there. And then, as far as our foster homes and our home and community-based service homes, they're out in the field. They're out all throughout the city of Houston. We have some in Beaumont. We have some all over Houston. And God willing, we are going to expand to Dallas as well. Good. So, I mean, they're all over, but we do have a building in Houston.
That's awesome. I love that. That's hot. The reason why I had to say that, because some people would think that it's actually in your home, right? Like,
no, it's not.
Some people think like, man, she got a lot of kids in her house.
No, I don't have the kids in my house, but I will tell you, I started from humble beginnings. When I started my HCS, I did start from my home.
Did you? Okay.
I really did.
Okay.
But God has allowed me to expand. But I did start from humble beginnings. I'm not going to act like I did not. I did start in my home. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure, love. People would think like, man, how did she fit all those kids and everybody in the staff in her house? Like, how does she even have time for her own family? Right? That's awesome.
Some people think that too. Some people like, so you have the kids at your home? And I'm like, no, I have my children. I have my children at home, but not the kids. They are not at my house. So that is not the first time I have heard that. I have had people to ask me that before.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's kind of like I had to make sure I make that clear, because some people are like, well, we don't hear anything in the background. We want to make sure everything is good. Okay. All right. So, of course, before we take another quick break, love, because of you starting, and like I said, I can't, give you enough kudos in regards to you actually starting. It's kind of like when we say our IT guys, we start from our garage and then we actually start to expand out, and we have our own buildings, we have our own area to be able to expand, right? And that's kind of what you did from a home-based standpoint to basically have that. Social workers, right? When someone wants to apply to become a social worker, what do you look for a social worker to be able to work for Nicole Mays Jackson?
Listen, a lot. Communication skills, multitasking, patience, dedication, hard work. I mean, you can, and this is the thing though, when you are interviewing people, they give you what they want to give you, face value. What happens is when you have that gut feeling, you see them on paper, you know what you're looking for with them, and when they actually start the job, that's when you actually see. I'm just going to be honest with you. You will actually start seeing, because a lot of people I have seen in the social service field, they think this is what they want. And when they figure it out, they like, oh, no, if this is what I really want.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for someone who has a passion for what they do, because this is not just a paycheck. If you're coming to work for Nicole Mays Jackson, you're not coming just for a paycheck. You're
Right.
coming because you're coming to serve the children that we are here to serve.
Credibility comes with a lot when it comes to working for Nicole Mays Jackson. So I want you to know there is credibility that comes along with it. And the reason why I say that, love, because you worked hard at what you need to be able to do to be able to help others, right? That vision that you have, you want other people to have that vision the same way you have as well too. Now, everybody's personality is different, right? Before I do that, before I forget, how do you handle the territory of certain social workers to go in certain areas? Because not every area is good.
Right.
And there's something called protection that they need when they go into certain areas. How does your company handle that?
Yeah, so I will tell you, we don't deal with that so much because we are on the private side. When I did work for CPS and I would shadow some of the individuals, I've had a case where they had to bring out the police. I've had a case where, they tried to barricade us in the house and we couldn't get out.
Wow.
It is very dangerous being a social service worker and working for the state. Your life is at risk, and a lot of things happen. But at One Care Premier Services, we don't deal with that aspect right now. But safety is important for us with our parents, because we don't want our foster parents to be put at risk if some of the biological parents get wind up, where that parent may stay or do things like that. We try to make sure it's a lot of policies and guidelines in place to make sure that their information is also kept confidential as well. But from what you're referencing to, that's more on the state side, and it happens all the time.
Yeah. I had to ask that question because you having your own business wasn't for sure how that worked from a public side, because that also will limit in regards to what territories you can go in based off of, being Houston, being the Mecca, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's territories that you can go in, territories that you cannot go in when it comes to that. And I'm thinking, since it is private, they come to you. Is that how that works?
If they're wanting to be a foster parent, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If they're wanting to be a foster parent, they're going to come to our orientation meeting. It is a 3-month process, and we do vet them to make sure that they will be good foster parents.
As well as the kids, though? How do you get the kids?
So the kids are being taken by DFPS. So we're not actually getting the kids. DFPS is referring the kids once they have taken custody, and they're the conservator for the kids.
There's the connecting of the dots, everybody. There's the connecting of the dots. That's what I hear. That's what I'm hearing right now. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because I was like, I know that somebody got to give you the kids, right? And I know there's some way you have to get to the parents, but that's where you're getting the kids from, and you're building that reputation. Nicole Mays Jackson, I'm having a blast with you. I'm having a ball, but I got to take another break. We gotta acknowledge some things around here. All right. I'll be back shortly. Okay. All right, everybody. We gotta talk about NASCAR moments. NASCAR moments, everybody. Oh wait. Now that the Rico No Suave show is part of the family and starting to become part of the family of the NASCAR moments, these are some moments that I want to share with you. And here's our first one. All right. And it's only one. Bubba Wallace, baby. Bubba Wallace. He is an awesome race car driver. I'm a fan of his as well, too. And unfortunately, of course, I want him to win every race. But, there's always some great racers that's out there. But Bubba Wallace, the one thing I love about Bubba Wallace, his passion for the people, but the passion of him actually being able to be that race car driver. And also for people like us that looks up to him. So he did come to Chicago. He was actually in a street race, and McDonald's, baby. Woo-wee. I love the fries. And of course, number 23, Michael Jordan, of course, being a part of this. Xfinity, NASCAR Cup Series is the bomb. And he was actually here in Chicago, and it was so great to be able to cover NASCAR during this moment of time. You know, he's such a humble person. You know why? It's because he threw an event, a free event for everyone here in Chicago. It was called Bubba's Block Party, and it was on June 28th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and it was free at the DuSable Black History Museum, you know, in Chicago on the South Side, right? And, you know, with something like this, you don't get this very often, right? And this is one of the moments that he was giving back to the community, and he was actually out there signing autographs. He was out there like just being him, being a cool race car driver, because, you know, when you hear the race car, vroom, vroom, and you're ready to go, and, you know, you want them to start your engines, and everybody starts their engines and get crazy, you want to actually cheer on for your best driver, right? And that's what NASCAR is all about. And that's one of the moments that I really love, being able to see him actually racing on the street, being a historical moment here in Chicago was very, very awesome. And it was so much energy, and it was great to actually have him. Even though he did not win as far as first place, he participated in history here in Chicago. So, of course, I want to say thank you, Bubba Wallace, and NASCAR, you know, the Xfinity Cup Series, for being here on the Rico No Suave Show, but as well in Chicago history. Let's get back. Let's go. All right, Nicole, I'm back. Did you miss me, girl? Did you miss me?
I did. I did.
Okay, all right. Man, so, you know, there's a couple things before, you know, we're at 7:48 already. And I mean, we're on the same time zone, and time is flying by fast, love. But I have to talk about this one thing that you have done, being a public speaker, love. One thing about being a public speaker, you're talking to the youth. And when you're talking to the youth, you have a certain program that you talk to the young ones about, right? Talk to us about that.
You know, talking to youth is just encouraging them, to let them know that, you know, there is hope for you. You can do what you want to do. You are able to accomplish the things that you are wanting to accomplish. And so I think that it's just so imperative that when you talk to them, you let them know that this doesn't define you. Your situation doesn't define you. And you want to be able to pour into them all that you can. And that's what I kind of do.
I like that. I like that. You know, also, you are called the Titanic powerhouse.
Yes.
Yes. You know, the Titanic, you know, went underwater, but you still float.
I'm still
and you're still on top.
I'm still on top.
You're still on top. You know,
and
Titanic powerhouse. Why that word? Why those words? There's two words. Why those words? Why do you use those?
It's just massive, huge, big. It's just letting you know that, you know, I am here and God has allowed me to be here. And so, you know, he always says he wants us to do things big and, you know, do things how he wants us to do them. So those words are powerful and I love it. When I heard you say it earlier, I was like, oh, even when I read it, it's different. But when you hear other people say it, you're like, Titanic powerhouse. Okay.
Yes. Because that's huge.
It is huge.
That's huge. And when I say that, it's like, you know, you think, of course, you think of the movie and all that stuff, but you think about the boat, how big that is, right? But then you think about this, you know, when you talk about the Titanic, you are the Titanic, right? You're the powerhouse. But then you have these little cabins, right? You have these little spaces. You got people that's around, right? And I'm putting this in an analogy of you being in the social services industry where you have connected over so many people that you can fill up the Titanic, right? And you never sink, right? Some people may sink from a parent standpoint, but you always are there for the youth to be able to help them stay afloat, to be able to keep that powerhouse. I really like that, the words that you use in regards to that. And of course, because you've been in the industry for quite some time, you know, you've made such a great connection with a lot of people. what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
being respected in this industry? What would you say?
I would say maybe a 6 or 7,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
just fair.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who own foster care agencies as myself. And, being a woman, and being the youngest woman to own all three, I've had, people from the States to come in before and think that I was the social worker and not the owner of the agency.
Yeah.
And so, but for me, being able to be in this field and, I'm still learning, I'm still growing.
Of
When
course.
you have a business and you're an entrepreneur, things are forever evolving and forever changing. And so you want to make sure you keep up with that. But for respect, I would say 6 or 7. Okay. Now,
that.
people would say, why would you say that amount? And that is just how I currently feel.
Yes.
Because I know that other people might say, well, you should be like at a 10, but no one is ever a 10. Okay.
Yes.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
Right. I like that. I like that. And, and some people call it, hey, she's just being modest. She's just, she just being herself. She's just being Nicole Mays Jackson, Nicole, it's good to be able to call you a 10 when it comes to being an expert, right?
Yeah.
When you're an expert, the credibility comes from the clients that you help, but also the respect of people when, I don't know if they give out awards for being a social worker or convention or things like that. And if they don't, they should, right? Because there's a lot of social workers that's out there that's doing great things that needs to be recognized. And I will tell you this, you hear it here on my show, when it gets bigger, I'm definitely going to do something where I'm going to give an award to a social worker or a teacher that's actually helping the youth or helping parents get back on track to be able to help the world get better. That's always something I've always wanted to do. And, I'm a salsa teacher, right? So when I teach salsa, I give my awards to people that's been with me for after so many years. I used to do that, right? When I actually was teaching a lot. And everyone that stuck with me for that 1 year, I gave them an award of an achievement, right? Because, not everybody knew how to dance, right? And they were scared, right? And then they got addicted to it. But then they worked hard by trying to get better. I see the same thing as far as for you as well, love, that the harder you work, the more accolades you need to actually have in your portfolio. I was going to say in your pocketbook, but I would just say in your portfolio.
I agree.
One last thing, love. I have to say that being an entrepreneur and teaching, we kind of talked to you, you kind of talked to us about how you teach. And when you're teaching, when you're teaching like kind of a program and you're mentoring the youth, how do you keep them on track?
That's funny. He said, how do you keep them on track? I mean, you want to be able to engage in them, to be able to just be consistent. It's just like with your own children, you want to be consistent, you want to engage with them. And that's something that you have to do to keep them on track.
Like feed them a lot. Like, give them candy.
You cannot bribe them. You'll have an investigation with the state. You said feed them a lot. Believe it or not, that'll be an investigation right there. Oh, they're overfeeding them. They're giving them too much food. So we can't bribe with any food, okay?
You be like, listen, Nicole, I'm lazy. That was too many cheeseburgers, right? No, I was just, I had to throw that out there just in case, because to be able to maintain, this, you gotta have that personality. You have to have the character. You have to have that positive attitude. Say it again.
You do. And I will tell you, like I said earlier, you have a great positive attitude, which I love. I love.
Let's go. Nicole, we're down to our last few minutes, love. It's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. But I got something for you.
Okay.
Check this out. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Let me see. What I got here? Boom!
Okay.
I got a shirt for you, love.
Yay!
Yes, I got a Rico No Suave show shirt for you. And
I'm excited, and I love the yellow.
come on, let's go. Let's go.
Okay, the Rico No Suave show.
That's right, love.
Thank you
And
so
here's the reason.
much.
Here's the reason. Well, here's the reason why I give this to you. Here's the reason why I give this out on my show. There's a gems of the world. You are a gem of the world, right? Of everything that you went through to be able to understand what social services is about. Being a social worker is not easy. We know this. Being able to see different types of parents and also different types of children from that 0 to 18 or wherever it may extend out to,
Yeah.
that's a lot. You're seeing different times. You're seeing different age groups that's actually either traumatized, been abused, had parents that was drug addicts, and from a negative standpoint, or parents that may have just given up on themselves, where DCFS in Chicago, of course, and where you're at, to be able to take the kids, put them in foster care, then you're taking them under your wings as well, too. The other thing I have to say about the reason why I'm giving you this shirt is because you are the first young woman of color to be able to have their own foster care, their own social services, and being able to build the community on your own, and then bringing in other people to help you out that needs to understand the vision. I am super happy to be able to give this to you because you definitely deserve it. And you can call us an award if you want to.
It is.
Yeah, it will
is
come
an
through
award.
FedEx or UPS. But
Okay.
it will get to you. And I'm expecting more from you. Meaning that I'm expecting for you to actually reach to the top to make sure that you expand even more outside of Houston and also to other states as well too. So I want to say thank you. And also your book. I know you have Thriving Mindset. That, of course, we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit about it, but it's right there behind you that I want people. Congratulations being an author, speaker, and keeping an entrepreneur. Welcome to the family, love. Welcome to the family.
So
Let's go.
much. I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Everybody, we got to put up your social media, love, because we want people to know about you, right?
Yes.
We got people to follow you.
Yes.
Instagram, baby.
Yes. You can follow me at Nicole Mays Jackson on IG. If you want to get involved with One Care, you can follow us at One Care Premier on IG or at onecarepremierservice.com.
Let's go. Let's go to that next one. We got something else. There's something called YouTube.
Yes, go to that YouTube, Nicole Mays Jackson.
Let's go. Let's go. Last but not least, we got a website. What is that?
NicoleMaysJackson.com.
Forget about it, man. Forget about it. You already know. It's there. It's there. Nicole Mays Jackson. What else can we ask for, love? We asking for everything because we want everybody to do everything for you and with you.
That's what
right?
we want.
So, my love, thank you so much for actually being on the show. I'm going to have you hold for a second, but we're going to end off the show. But I want to say thank you so much for being on the show, on the Rico No Suave show, and everybody else actually loves that you're actually here on the show as well, too, and much success to you as well, too. Okay, love?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Let's go. Put your hands together. Nicole Mays Jackson. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. You already know your boy, Rico No Suave. Yes, I want to thank you guys so much for actually being on the show with us today. Hey, we got to show you our social media because we want you guys to show us some love as well, too. www.riconosuaveshow.com. That's where you find out all of our information. If you want to contact us, you can contact us. You can watch the archives. We got a lot of great stuff that's on our website. Here's the next one. You already know. Boom! Yes, at Rico No Suave Show on Instagram. Instagram, everybody. Make sure you go to Rico No Suave Show. Go ahead and follow us now. Tell everybody and their grandmother about it. Even the kids as well, too. Let's go. The next one. And you know, Facebook, we left, then we came back. Because they said come back. And we did. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you like and love everything that we're doing. Make sure you follow us, everybody, and we'll follow you back. Let's go. Next, and this is something important, YouTube. Yes, YouTube is important. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, everybody. Show us some love. Subscribe. Our journey. We kind of started late, but we're building. We're going to the top. We're trying to be just like my girl, Nicole. We're trying to be a Titanic powerhouse on YouTube. Let's go. Next one is mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. It turns into a podcast, everybody. So go ahead and follow us there. It's a free account. You can just do it just like you have a Google account, right? So go to mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. Check out all of our archives, everybody. If you're on the road and you're driving, you want to listen to my voice and the other people's voice as well, too, you can do that as well, too. Everybody, we have to get out of here, but we want to thank you so much for being on the Rico No Suave Show. And I'll see you guys next time as we end off the show just like this.